Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and this is Break the Fake. They make them, we break them and tell you everything you need to know. Well, it seems that Russia's pride and joy, the Sarmat missile, got a little too excited during a test at the Plesetsk Cosmodrome and, let's just say, it didn't quite make it off the ground. According to open-source intelligence researchers, what we have now is a giant crater, a scorched testing facility and a cloud of embarrassment hanging over the Kremlin itself. So let's recap. The Sarmat, touted as Russia's newest, biggest and baddest intercontinental ballistic missile, went boom before it even left the silo. And to make matters worse, this happened to Putin's supposedly unstoppable weapons system, which was, get this, already put on combat duty. You know, because clearly it was ready. So now we have Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin's go-to guy for pretending nothing's wrong, forced to shrug off the explosion as quote-unquote news to me and kicking the question over to the Ministry of Defense. Classic. So, to summarize, a missile built to terrify the West managed to terrorize itself right at home with this premature detonation. Could have been worse, though. We've also been testing another superweapon recently, the nuclear-powered cruise missile known as the Burevestnik. Oh wait, that also reportedly exploded on the ground a few years ago. Oh well. Dmitry Peskov is at it again, delivering lines so vague they could be applied to anything, from a soccer match to nuclear disarmament talks. According to him, Russia will achieve its goals one way or another. And there is the rub. Which goals exactly, Dmitry? You know, the ones that keep changing every time things go south, perhaps? Meanwhile, Zelensky is in the US, saying that Ukraine's occupation of part of the Kursk region has Putin shaking in his boots. Why? Well, because, and this is truly ironic, Putin, who loves to boast about defending Russia from the evil West, can't even protect his own backyard. Let's see what the Kremlin troupe of inadvertent comedians has to say about all this.
При правильном направлении ветра удар по украинским атомным электростанциям приведет к тому, что ядерное облако пойдет на Европу.
На Европу, там роза ветров, да, она пойдет прежде всего.
И тогда европейцы точно поймут все, что они с такой радостью поддерживали все эти годы.
Да. Ну и политический аспект, конечно, почему Зеленский так настаивает. Я считаю, что, конечно, во-первых, это в преддверии выборов, создать проблемы следующей администрации, прежде всего Трампу, если он победит на выборах, если они решат поставить эти ракеты. Вот, что западники взяли курс на то, чтобы Украина производила сама. Не знаю, прав ли Зеленский то, что они там все под землей стараются делать, но думаю, что вот уничтожение этих производственных мощностей, это, я считаю, задача номер один. И второе, что...
довольно сложно что-то производить, если у тебя нет электроэнергии. Поэтому надо для начала закончить начатую работу.
Завершить работу по ликвидации генерации, во-первых, тепловой и гидрогенерации. Я говорю, еще оставить им только атомную для детских садов и ясель. А все остальное пусть работает.
Для детских садов вполне могут быть бензиновые генераторы.
Генераторы,
Атомные станции для этого не нужны.
So, as Peskov and the Kremlin cling to their ever-shifting objectives, the rest of us are left wondering what this peace will look like. One thing is for sure, if the end of this war is anything like Peskov's promises, we'll be waiting a long time. Or, until someone else gets blamed for not achieving all these goals. Also, referring to the Kremlin propagandists and their talk about nuclear power plants, I guess Russia controls the wind now, did they want to turn the world into, one of the Fallout video games? Probably it would be Fallout 76, a buggy, janky mess, like Russia itself. Moving on now to the Russian Navy, turning slow zigzagging into an art form probably since its own inception. Yes, according to a new investigation, Russian quote-unquote research ships have been very interested in Europe's undersea assets. And by interested, I mean suspiciously loitering near gas pipelines, data cables, wind farms and military infrastructure like teenagers hanging around a convenience store, but with way worse intentions. You see, these ships aren't just going for a casual cruise. We're talking about hundreds of trips, 428 to be exact, 54 of which involved some rather eyebrow-raising behavior, like moving slower than a snail on holidays, or making bizarre zigzag patterns, as if the captains had just discovered how to use a joystick for the first time in their lives. But it's not all fun and games. We're dealing with spy missions in waters off coasts of Denmark, Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands and others. You know, just hanging out near your vital energy infrastructure. Totally normal, right? Oh, and the best part? They've even been using, wait for it, good old Morse code. Yes, Morse code. Because nothing screams, we're not up to anything shady, like using 19th century communication methods in the 21st century. Appearing on Tuesday at the UN Security Council session, Vasily Nebenzia, Russia's permanent representative to the United Nations, alleged that the armed forces of Ukraine are trying to either desert or surrender. If it weren't for an echelon of nationalist barrier troops blocking them from turning tail, the number of Ukrainian POWs in Russian camps would already go into the tens of thousands, allegedly. Yeah, Nebenzia's claim is like a surreal performance piece at this point, an impressive feat of alternative reality, where the Ukrainian military is apparently just waiting for the chance to surrender, but is prevented from laying down arms by sick nationalists with guns to their backs. It's like a dystopian fiction that only Russia seems to be invested in.
Западные страны не могли удержаться от того, чтобы отравить атмосферу, в очередной раз пытаясь заполнить эфир набившим всем оскомину всему остальному миру украинским сюжетом. Единственное, для чего они созвали это заседание, чтобы предоставить господину Зеленскому еще одну концертную площадку в ООН, на этот раз в зале заседаний Совета Безопасности. А на подпевке у него сегодня собралась целая группа членов ЕС и НАТО, которые дисциплинированно выстраиваются в ряд каждый раз, когда им велят прийти в СБ охаивать Россию. Это могло бы быть даже в чем-то забавной иллюстрацией того, насколько эти страны зависимы в своих внешнеполитических установках от старших братьев по натовскому лагерю, если бы не являлось одновременно очередным печальным примером того, как коллективный Запад в угоду своим геополитическим интересам наносит новые и новые удары по авторитету Совета Безопасности.
The sad irony, though, is that everyone at the UN knows this is pure nonsense. Yet Russia still holds a seat on the UN Security Council, that esteemed body meant to, maintain global peace and security, while also being home to the very nation wreaking havoc across Ukraine. It's a bit like having a Sith Lord serve as a tutor at a Jedi Academy. And honestly, Nebenzia has a bit of that Palpatine energy, except that he has seemingly traded Force lightning for Force nonsense. But here we are, trapped in this bizarre diplomatic theater where lies are called alternative narratives and the aggressor gets to sit at the peacekeeping table. Getting back to our Star Wars comparison, the UN is kind of like the Galactic Senate right now, debating merrily while the Clone Wars are already in full swing. Everything that's missing is Nebenzia stepping up and proclaiming the formation of the First Galactic Empire, or, as Foreign Secretary David Lammy of the United Kingdom said, a mafia empire, an empire built on corruption, because that's all that Russia is really capable of, to be honest. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.